Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Morgan Greer Tarot. Supportive Oracle Cards, Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum. Aries. Who had that? Somebody else had that too. This is different. This is definitely... I think it was Scorpio had a similar start, but yours is definitely feeling different than theirs did. All right, so... Okay. When this starts off, you got the garden, the gate, the world, and... What's the last one? The storm warning. The garden and the gate, that's this one. The storm warning and the world. When this situation starts to be a problem, the world changing doesn't, I don't usually feel this happening in 5 seconds. Sometimes it can drag out for a few months or even a year or two, where you know a situation has hit its moment to where you've come to that point where yeah, I'm kind of done here. I need to do something else. And sometimes, and it could be Aries energy because I kind of connect with that, you make that decision and you're kind of like, I know I'm done here, but I need to go somewhere else. I need to change things. I need to see a different way to do things. Almost like I remember feeling this way about a job, and it took me a couple years to find a suitable replacement. But once I knew I was done, I was like, I stopped bending over backwards to try to impress the people above me, if you will. I was kind of done. I was like, oh, you don't like that? Well, that's something. I got things to do. Which I know is probably rude for me to say, but I remember getting that way at a certain job. Kind of like, oh, you don't like that? Oh, well, hey. And I would just go on and do what I had to do. Kind of like, you don't like that? I guess you don't like that then. I mean, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I guess that's how that goes. When we're coming into this, it's at that point though where you're kind of like, I'm here, but I'm done, so I'm just kind of finishing it off because I need to be here for whatever reason. Could be a job thing for a lot of you, kind of like, well, I need the paycheck, so I'm still showing up, but I'm definitely, people like me, people don't. It's all the same to me because I'm not staying. It's not meant to be like aggressive. It's just kind of like, yeah, well, it is what it is. I don't know I hope I'm saying it correctly because it's not meant as a jab. It's just, you know how you feel and you're just like, oh, you don't like that? Well, in the environment you got, I want to say the blessings of the moon. That's not it though. The goddess of the moon, door to spirit. These, yeah, when it's time to start looking elsewhere. And you make that decision. It might be one of those things where just one day you're in the middle of an email or you're just talking to somebody or you just look the right way and it just pops in your head like, you know what, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I still a part of this? Do I want to be? No. So if people don't like what I'm doing, okay, then they don't, and that's that. It's not like a jab though. I feel like I keep saying it like a jab. It's not a jab. It's just kind of like, oh, you're upset. Well, that happens. When you're not invested with somebody anymore, and especially if they're playing games with you, maybe that's it. You feel like people are playing games with you. And you're just like, well, they're playing those games, but I'm not rolling the dice anymore. So you're going to have to skip my turn because I'm not playing that game anymore. And if you don't like that and you're going to try to use that against me, that's fun, but I'm not going to be here long enough for it to really even matter. It's kind of like one of those feelings. Kind of like I'm not hanging out long enough to care. You know when it's time. Again, it can last for a while, making the complete change when the world comes in, but once you make up your mind, you're like, the stress level drops dramatically in the sense of worrying about what other people think. Now the stress level is just about finding a different place to go. The Chariot comes in with the Two of Swords. Is like, You're ready to go. This is definitely Aries energy, in my opinion. You're ready to go, but it's kind of like you're not going to make a dumb decision. You're not going to be like, well, I'm just going to be like, well, I'm done. So later, y'all. When you have, especially if it's job related, kind of like, well, I have responsibilities connected to this paycheck. So I can't just walk out. I have to keep making this paycheck until I find something else. Again, this is how I relate to this. My moon is Aries, though. That's kind of why I think this makes sense to me. You're ready to go. You're ready to go. The Chariot is like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of here. But then the Two of Swords is like, well, not just yet. And you're like, oh, it's very frustrating. It's a very frustrating feeling when you know you're done, but you just can't leave just yet. It's kind of like you have everything packed, you're ready to go, and your plane doesn't leave for another 2 weeks. And you're just kind of like, but I'm ready to go now. But the plane is it's not gonna happen for another 2 weeks. And that's how this feels for me. It's like, I'm ready to go now. And the world is like, well, that's not gonna happen just yet. You've made up your mind, though. Healer of the ages, the door to value. Possibilities will come towards you. It's hard to be patient at this point, is what I'm getting, because you already know what you want. You already know what you're ready. You're at peace with what's coming next for you. It's coming. It's coming in. It's also coming in with a lot of pentacle energy, which is telling me the next situation that comes in is going to last, but it's slow. It's slow for you to get involved with it. This is, oh my God, this is hitting so much for me for the past. I remember when I interviewed for a job, and it took literally 4 months before the interview process was over, and I got the job. And I'm just like, for the love of Pete, people, what are you doing? Like, are you taking naps between calls? What are you doing? Like, I remember feeling that way, like a good 4 months from like when I first did the first interview till I actually started the job. And I'm just like, why? Why are we taking our whole life for this? Anyway, this is how this is feeling for me, though. You got the King of Pentacles coming in with the Lovers. An opportunity is showing itself. A way to move forward, a way to change your circumstances. It shows up, but it's showing up with Pentacles, saying, yeah, it's here. Get comfortable, though, because it's going to take a while for this to come together. It's kind of like making dough. It's kind of like it's going to need some time to rest and sit. You're not going to have it in an hour. It's going to take you a few hours to get it all together, put it together, and then you're going to have to bake it after that. It's a long haul wait. But the King of Pentacles is also worth waiting for. That's a very high value situation. So you're going through this because it's worth it. It's just like slow as molasses. Like someday can we move forward? Just someday. For the love of Pete, it's slow. But these two cards together are telling me it's worth it. You're adhering to these rules, but it's kind of like, it's weird to move on from the last situation. Kind of like, there's things going on in this last situation and things like responsibilities you're connected to, and you're just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm going to do my responsibilities. I'm going to take care of my responsibilities, but at the same time, you're kind of like annoyed with it. Kind of like, I'll do that because I'm supposed to do that. You know, I take care of my responsibilities. I do my responsibility. That's my responsibility to do that. All right, I'm going to do that. But at the same time, you're like, I don't want to, though. Like, I don't want to be a part of it. It's like, I'm so done. I'm over that, but I'm still doing it. That's the Hierophant for you. Things keep moving forward. The Knight of Pentacles coming in with the Eight of Cups is like slowly walking away from the past, slowly walking into the future. It's a slow transition. It is a very slow I feel like whatever this is, it's a slow transition. The journey does seem to kick forward at some point. You got the heart chakra with the attachment coming in here. At some point, I feel like you might be a little bit more on edge or a little bit more edgy with your words, kind of like as you're ending or you're getting near to the end of like this last situation, you might have a very short fuse with what people are saying to you and kind of like, well, I need you to do this, and you might snap back, well, I don't need to do anything, and you need to remember that I'm almost done here, so if you need to do that right away, then you need to do it right away. I'll do it in the same way I have always done it. I will I'll uphold my responsibilities, but don't push your energy on me, because I'm not playing that game anymore. You don't have that authority over me anymore. I am done with you. I am just finishing out politely, so don't give me your crap. I feel like you might be snapping at people a little bit, because you're kind of like, listen, this is over. This is over. And people coming at you as they normally would, like, I need this now, I need this now. You're like, well, that may be nice, but don't give me your attitude because I'm finishing here. I'm almost done. I'm not interested in what you want. I'm just doing my responsibility. I'm going to do what I'm responsible for, but I don't need your attitude. And I feel like you might be pushing back on people like that a little more than usual, where maybe most of the time you'd let it just kind of slide and be like, it's not worth the comment. When it gets to this point and you're having a lot of stress and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and you know that's almost done, be careful of that though. That could put you in a weird limbo area, especially if this is job related. Be careful not to shoot yourself in the foot. I'm just saying, whatever that means to you, because I've seen this happen, where maybe people walk away from the last job before the next job is quite ready, and then there's a space where the funds are a little bit lacking and they don't really, it seems right at the time, but then when they're in this limbo area, it can get very uncomfortable. So don't shoot yourself in the foot if this is a job situation. If this is more a relationship or something else, it could be like more of an uncomfortable situation for a different reason. Just be careful, like let things, try to give yourself enough patience and hold back like snapping at people. Aries is very strong, and I really do connect to that energy. And I know that a lot of us, I feel like a lot of us, we prefer to get along with people and be nice, but once that line is hit, it's kind of like, I swear sometimes people don't see it coming. Once that line is hit, it's kind of like, the claws come out, and it's kind of like, all right, now you've asked for it. Be aware of your own energy. Just make sure you don't shoot yourself in the foot. That's all I'm saying, because you are strong. Aries are. I'm not. You can't tell me Aries aren't strong because they. I'm just telling you. You can't tell me they're not. Just be aware of your own strength, that it doesn't double back on you. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to whip something around and have it catch you back in the face when it circles back around. That's all I'm saying. This is the question. Because this card is hidden. It doesn't have to show up. It's the broken heart, in the sense of like, be careful about shooting yourself in the foot. That's all I'm getting. Whatever you're walking away from, there might be a lasting damage, a lasting like there could be like a scar. Think of it as a scar. There could be a scar that you carry forward from that you don't want to. Just be careful, because you are strong. Be aware of your own strength. That's what I'm getting with the Seven of Pentacles and then the King of Rods. Your strength can double back on you. Just be aware of it. When you transition into the next situation, you don't want to carry anything negative from the last. Whatever's in the last situation, let it calmly just disappear on its own and let it stay there. Goodbye, good riddance, it's done. You don't want to take any of that forward. And I'm getting, if you're not careful with your own strength, you could end up backlashing on somebody, and that'll pull forward to the next situation. You don't want to do that. As long as you keep reminding yourself of how strong you really are, and when somebody comes at you the wrong way, you are going to tell them where to stuff it. As long as you're aware of that, you keep yourself on point. Like, all right, I know I'm strong. I'm not going to let these people, hit my button. I'm just going to keep that button away from them. You'll be fine. Just don't pull this forward, because I'm getting something could pull forward to the next situation, like a scar. And you don't want to pull this scar forward. Like, you don't want to do that. The past might have a hard time letting go. If you don't play into the game, it's gone. It's done. It's done. If you don't play into the game, it's gone. It goes off into the past. Goodbye. If you play into the game, I'm just getting this is almost like somebody's almost trying to push your buttons because they just want to use it against you. Don't play that game. Don't let somebody use your own energy against you. Don't do that. The next situation is meant to be good. It's meant to be really good. You need to be the one with the strategy. There is strategic movements forward in this next situation. You need to be the one at that table making the decisions, making the commands, deciding what comes next. If you play into this game and somebody gets the better of you and you snap back at them, they take that card and they keep it for themselves. Then they have the strategy. That's not acceptable. You're the one that has to have the strategy. You're the one that's supposed to be in control. Because for some reason, this does seem to connect in a community way, and this connects, and this does affect your happiness. That's the Ace of Cups. That's your happiness, and the community is literally the community card. Whatever this situation is, it does connect. How you handle it does seem to carry forward. It may seem like it shouldn't. Somehow it carries forward to the next situation. Don't let that happen to you. I'm getting like, because again, I have the Aries moon, so I know how this energy goes to a point, just to be fair. We do have that control. If we've decided how we're going to handle something, it's just being in that mindset of kind of like, oh, I'm not going to let them have control. And I know that's why they're doing this stuff. Something that's helped me, I'm actually going to throw this in there too, because I can understand how the energy can be very strong and very hard to resist. Paul McKenna, big fan of his. The book is I Can Mend Your Broken Heart. It's not just for relationships, but it can teach you how to take the power away from somebody else pushing your buttons, because we all have that. People try to push our buttons, and sometimes they win, and they find the way to hit that button. They hit it. They deserve what they get, but we end up with repercussions that we don't want. That book will help you find a way to like take that power away from them, so that they can't come anywhere near the button to set you off, and they can't cause any of these problems for you. That's just something I've used. If you want it, great. If you don't, you don't. I like Paul McKenna anyway. I think he's a great author. Okay. That's all I got for you. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.